You don't have to be a sysadmin to start your home server. Just like cooking, it's all about right ingredients. Here, we're using just two, Cloudflare and Traefik, with a little bit of the spice of DDNS updater, which I tell you later on. In this video, I'm going to show you how to mix them up into a simple yet powerful recipe so you can serve your first service hot and HTTPS ready right from your kitchen, or your terminal. Let's go. Hi everyone, welcome to Code Voyage. Today we're going to see how are the fundamentals of home server. What do we need? And we're going to spin up a stack which helps us along the way and later on to add more services on it and well, having our home server, right? So the minimum things that we need for our home server is a VPS, virtual private server, or our laptop. So any old laptop will do. There will be two scenarios. Either you're going to have your server on the web, on the cloud, on any VPS you have or you want to get. Here I'm going to try with AWS. Or you can have it on your own laptop at home. If you are using your own laptop or the old laptop, you are going to use your home IP address. For the home IP address, you need to have a dynamic DNS. A dynamic DNS is a DNS that when your IP changes, it automatically updates your address behind your domain. Your home IP will be always in sync with your domain. In the other scenario, you want to have your home server on a VPS, on a cloud, a virtual private server, and that's what we are going to try here because I already set up mine and I'm already using my home IP address, so I cannot spin up traffic and so on and so on again on it. But you can definitely do that, and I have created a bash script for you so you can follow along and basically start from there. But don't worry, don't just run any bash script you find on the internet. You definitely need to read it and go through it line by line to see if anything suspicious is there. So there will be no funny business here. I will definitely explain one line at a time. But before I go through that, back to what we need, what is our necessary things. So we need a domain, a main address, a main domain name, so that we can call this our home address, pretty much like the actual home or apartment that we are living in. There is a number of the apartment, there's like a unique number, there's a street number, there's a street name, and so on and so on. So domain name would act as the same thing. So we need to have a static, same fixed domain so we can call it whatever we want to. I'm going to get, I already got my domain from Cloudflare, and I'm kind of suggesting Cloudflare because they have so many free services they can give you, and it's a very big, very well maintained and stuff. But you can have it from anywhere else, and there wouldn't be any issue. I'm going to show you later on, and it's still adaptable. So I need an account at the Cloudflare first, and then I need to get a domain from Cloudflare. This is the domain I got, so dvoyagerlab.xyz. You might ask why XYZ. I'm going to show you right now. So in order to have a server that has least amount of challenges in terms of domains, these are the ICANN approved domains for long-term use. Some applications might have problem with other domains. So if you have not yet got your domain, I highly suggest to get it from here, and don't use the free domains like .tk because they will have some issues later on when you're running stuff on it. And here's the list of pros and cons on different domains, and you can check them out yourself. You can pause this. I'm going to move my mouse aside, and you can pause this and read this if you want. You can also ask ChatGPT to give you the same table. But basically .com, .dev, .tech, .io, .app, .xyz, .site, .net, .cloud are the best domains for running a server. And they're pretty much well equipped with becoming the HTTPS and secure and stuff. Not getting much into the detail, but if you have not got your domain yet and you are wondering what domain you should choose, these are the top level domains that it's good to use. Anyway, moving forward. So as you can see, I do not have any DNS records here on my new domain that I got, and it will be populated automatically, and you'll see how just in a minute. Before we start, we need to get a token and zone ID from our Cloudflare, and I'm just going to write it down here so we can use it later on. So the zone ID, when you go to the overview in your main domain and scroll down below, you can see zone ID here. So I'm just going to copy paste it here. And for the token, we need to generate a new one. So from the top icon here, you go to profile, go to API token, and you can see like I have generated two already, and I can create one, use this template, edit zone DNS. I'm just going to put this on all zones and then continue to summary. You can also make it specific to exactly one of your domains. That's your choice. We're just going to hit create and copy this token that it gives us. I'm just going to put it down here as well. And I'm going to go back, look into the DNS. I'm just going to take a look at here so that when it populated, I can see it. All right, now what I need is an instance. So since I'm going to follow the VPS scenario, I'm going to run an instance on AWS. But if you are doing it on your laptop, you can just go ahead and run the bash script. Although after I explained it line by line, what does it do? Anyway, launching instance. My first home server. Yeah. And I'm going to choose Ubuntu as my OS. And down here, I'm going to choose RSA key. If you don't have one, you can create one. And then I'm going to make sure that incoming traffic to port 443 and 80 is enabled and open. So I'm going to allow HTTPS and HTTP as well. And that's mainly what we need, because reverse proxy is going to listen to port 80 and 443, and it's going to redirect our request to any services in the background that we might run later on. And I can show you my own traffic as well later on, because there are like multiple services running on it. So I'm going to hit launch. And then I'm going to my instances, refresh. I can see my instance here. I'm going to hit connect, go to SSH client. I'm going to copy this command here, and I'm going to paste it in my terminal. My PEM file that I have already downloaded, it's the key pair, RSA key pair that we have. I have already created, but if you create new ones, I'm just going to download it for you right then. It's in the download folder, so I'm just gonna change this part, and then I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna say yes, and I'm inside of it. So right now I'm in AWS. What I need is I need to clone the Git repository that I have made it ready. So there are a bunch of files here. The deploy.sh will take care of most of the things for us. I'm just gonna hit copy. So if you are new to this channel, we're in a demoing phase. So I usually start demoing first, and then I'll get into more technical stuff, line by line analysis and so on. So to set more and better expectations, let's say. I'm going to paste this here and git clone. All right, I'm gonna move into home server 101. And if I take a look at things here, I've got a .git ignore, config, deploy, and so on and so on. Okay, so what the first thing that I need to do is I need to change the permission and give execution permission to deploy.sh. So sh chmod plus x to give execution permission to deploy.sh. And then I'm gonna go ahead and run this. So when I run this, it first starts to update, and I'll definitely go through it line by line. So don't worry about it. It starts to updating the server first, and then installing a couple of dependencies. And then it will ask us a couple of questions, and we'll answer them. All right. So the first question that the bash script is asking me is, what's your Cloudflare API email? So we have used an email to create an account at Cloudflare, and I'm just going to provide it with my email. And then the API token. So we have copied the API token here. Just going to copy paste it. The zone ID, copy paste. The root domain. So this is my main domain, the root domain basically. So I'm just going to copy paste it from here. But well, this depends on your domain. So if you just input your own domain here, and then it asks for the traffic subdomain. So we need two different subdomains, and that's one is the traffic, which is the reverse proxy. And reverse proxy is a proxy that sits in front of our server, facing to the internet, listens on any request comes from the internet, and decide which service needs to take care of that request. So that's our traffic. That's our reverse proxy. I'm going to choose a subdomain of, you can choose whatever you want. The default is traffic. I'm going to choose traffic proxy, dash proxy. For the DDNS or dynamic DNS that keeps updating our the address behind our domain, if it changes. It's another service, and we need another subdomain for that as well. So I'm just going to call this dynamic DNS. All right, so updating the host rules. So it's updating the Docker Compose YAML file. I've got these subdomains listed there as well. And then it's telling me that, or we went straight to the logs anyway. All right, so if I wait just a little bit, I would see that, yeah, I think I've already cached. Oh, first thing we can just check here, right? So going to our Cloudflare, and if we refresh here in the DNS records, we should be able to see our IP, basically the AWS IP. So you can see that the dynamic DNS is there, the main. If I let this go, all right. So the root domain is here, and also the subdomain of traffic proxy. It's taken care of automatically by DDNS updater. There are three A records set here, and this should be the exact AWS IP, and we can check that 35, 86, 90, 180. And if I go here, go to my instances, and here we go, 35, 86, 90, 180. So that happened automatically, and that's a great tool, this DDNS updater. I need to give them a shout out. It's an amazing open source software. I love it also, honestly. So you can see that they can work with different DNS provider. Cloudflare is just one of them. So if you get your domain from DigitalOcean, from Namecheap, from I don't know, I don't know lots of them. So OVH or any other Hetzner, they have a solution for you. Okay, guys. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see this all of this with a blue link, which leads you to what kind of a structure does it need to work with that DNS provider. So if I, for example, choose Cloudflare here, it lead me to a Cloudflare empty file, and you see here we need such a JSON file. And the Bash script right now have taken care of this and created this for us, and I'll show you in a detailed explanation. But you can choose your own basically DNS provider and see how it works. So it works differently in different DNS provider, but that's a good thing. Moving forward, now it's time to try, right? So Traefik proxy dot d Voyager lab dot xyz. Okay, so here's our traffic right here. And if I go to, for example, HTTP, I'll see that the traffic proxy um, is right here. Interestingly, I'm not seeing the DDNS. Probably the certificate has not been resolved yet from Cloudflare. So I'm just gonna copy this because it's very long. And I'm gonna use dynamic dash DNS. Okay, let's check the log files. As soon as we get the certificate, yeah, okay, it appeared right here. So as soon as we get the certificate, it will appear right here. And if we try this now, you'll see that it works. And the first time Traefik will provide its own self-signed HTTPS certificate. That's why I had to accept the risk and click on that. But as soon as you refresh, you'll see that it's actually verified by Let's Encrypt, and it's a fresh new HTTPS, basically SSL TLS certificate. And here you can see our current IP. If our IP changes later on, it will list it over here, so we can see our previous IPs and our subdomains that lives on there and our domain and so on. So this is a, a basic and fundamental things we need for a home server or any server for that matter. We need something to always keep our address, the IP address, in sync with the domain. And also, we need a reverse proxy as a first line of defense sitting in front of our network and listening to all the requests and basically forward them to any services we have in the background. So I wanted to show you something else as well. So right now, this domain, and if someone has this subdomain and domain in full, they can kind of access it. There's no authentication or anything. If you are running this on your own machine, you can use a local or .localhost subdomains, and in this way, it would be only accessible in your local machine when you're accessing it physically. So nobody from outside world can access that. There are ways to basically add authentications and stuff, but we're not going through that today. So my own traffic, which runs on my machine, is called dashboard.localhost, and you can see I have like 22 routers, 18 services, 9 middleware, and I can check into all of those, right? And you can attach so many things to this. Just one point, if you want to not expose any of your services, you can make it .localhost or you can create your own made up domain name. But the localhost and .local is already in your etc hosts file. So it would be recognized by your machine. So it's time for the line by line code review. So as we can see, there are a bunch of echoes. I'm just not going through those ones that echoing and printing stuff in our terminal. But basically, first we start by updating our system and then installing the dependencies. So docker.io and docker-compose are the ones. Then the necessary directories. Um, I do not usually put emojis and stuff, but I'm asking and working this bash script through ChatGPT, and that's why it makes it a little bit beautiful here. Anyway, so it asks for our API email and put it in this variable, and then it asks for our DNS API token, again to this variable, Cloudflare zone, ask for root domain, ask for traffic subdomain and DNS subdomain, and then it will create a um, um, full domain basically for the traffic. So it would be traffic-proxy.devoyagelab.xyz. It would just create a full link and save it in these variables. And then here we are going to change anything that has been written down. So right now, if you look into the Docker, actually let's do that. So if you look into Docker, there will be this host variables where I inputted my own um, domains basically. And there will be two for each, one for HTTP and one for HTTPS, and one for two for DNS and two for traffic. So we need to replace this with whatever you input in the bash script. And that's what this for sed command does. Basically, we'll go grab and find that specific part and gets any characters, basically any amount of characters between these two parentheses, and then it would basically replace them with traffic full domain name. And it would do the same for the DNS. So that's why we have like four replacement here. And it would just echo down that these are the full domains for traffic and DDNS. In the next stage, we are going to create .env file. So this is we do not want to expose this to public, so that's why we put it in .env file, and then in .gitignore I have mentioned that .env should be ignored. So if even if you clone this and try to push it on your GitHub, the .env file will not be pushed, so you are safe. Yeah, so this will create .env file, and we need a Cloudflare API email and DNS API token. After that, we need to create the config.json file for our DDNS. So the file will be in a directory called data, and the config .json will be created this way. So I have used a multiple line command. So basically, this is how it works. It says cat or like print out till you get to EOF or end of line. And this could be also different variables. It's basically a variable that will be repeat at the end, and it says print it out or push it out, cat it out, unless you reach to end of line, end of file, sorry. And then it would write all of these into the config file. And we have entered here Cloudflare zone, root domain, the TTL. So every minute, this domain will be updated. So depending on how much available you want to make your services, or how periodically how likely is your domain to be changed. So since I have started or basically moved to new place, my domain has not changed, and even in my old place I have not noticed that my domain changed in any way. So but again, I'm just checking every 1 minute to see if it has changed. I think I've seen 600 to be more common. Maybe 60 is an overkill, but it doesn't cost me anything. Probably it would cost Cloudflare a little bit more, but it doesn't charge me anything. So I'm just using the least amount of time. Anyway, up to you, but 600 should be fine. And then the token here, and some of them are being repeated, and we need one, basically one object in the JSON for the root domain, one for the traffic subdomain, and one for the traffic DDNS domain. And at the end, it would check to see if we have created this Docker network. So we are using an external network so that when we are spinning up or bringing down our services, the network doesn't die and it stays the same. That's why we need to create an external network, and it has been mentioned here. So the network's traffic network proxy network is external. And so that's why we're going to first inspect it, see if it exists. And if it does, we will just go skip through it because it's an OR. So any part of this, if it's true, it's just going to pass this line. But if it was false, it would run this one, and it would create a traffic proxy network. And then we will just wait 1 second to make sure that traffic, that network has been created. I have not faced any particular issue. This is just being very much cautious. But yeah, feel free to remove it and try it out. And then here we are going to spin up the stack in a detached mode. So we will not be seeing the logs right after here because it's -d detached. And right after that, I'm going to use logs-f to follow the logs as it comes. So we start seeing the logs right here. And then when we control C, the whole stack will not stop. It's just the logs that's going to stop. It's just easier to do it this way. Yeah, so that's the deploy bash script. And feel free to use it. There are comments here and there. If you have any question about this, let me know. And feel free to bump this up, make it better, and send a pull request. And I'll definitely take a look into it, and I'll update it. I mean, it's an open source. We are all creating stuff. And yeah, feel free to change that up. Um, I have explained a lot about the labels and the Docker Compose file in general, but if I want to go through it very fast, basically these are the only ports that we are exposing. And as you can see, the traffic dashboard do not need to be exposed necessarily because we are attaching a API internal to the main service. There are a bunch of volumes attached. One of the most important ones is the Docker Unix socket. That's really important, and it should be read only. So we are only reading from the socket and not writing into it. And the environment are defined, and we have .env file to basically fulfill these values. The network is defined. It restarts unless we stop it manually, so it keeps restarting. Even if we restart our system, we reboot our laptop or our VPS, it would still be spun up after. The labels are necessarily related to the traffic itself. So here we're enabling traffic. We're basically telling the traffic, okay, hey, listen to this one. This is part of your integration. And then we have the Docker network. So we're mentioning what kind of network our Docker, our traffic basically needs to use. Then what's the host of our traffic? What is the service? So for the traffic, we need to use API @internal service. This would understand, and you don't need to expose this port when you're using this service. And then web is basically a route for port 80 HTTP, but then we have a middleware to redirect any HTTP calls that comes to the proxy to 443, or make it force it to be HTTPS. So if even if someone tries to access your services intentionally on HTTP to try to find to basically try to connect to you in unsecurely, and I don't know, try to sniff things, or basically any malicious or funny stuff, you would force them to use HTTPS, and basically your traffic will switch to HTTPS and does not let that HTTP connection happen. And then we're using web secure HTTPS here for the endpoints. The same domain, we are saying the TLS should be true, and the resolver of the TLS is going to be Cloudflare, and this one, it's where it knows where to get those SSL TLS certificate. Coming down, we have a second service, which is the DDNS updater. Pretty much the same. Nothing very particular. The only thing different here is that we do not expose any any port from DDNS updater. DDNS updater by default is working with port 8000, and here's how we can make it understand for traffic. So we said traffic HTTP services, DDNS updater. So this is one of the services. We defined up here, basically we are defining a service name, and then we're using it, and then we say add a load balancer server port 8000, and in this way traffic knows if I try to access this domain, basically it would, when it receives this request to this domain, it would send it to the main network address, the traffic network address on the port 8000. And on the port 8000, it will go to the different Docker container. And I can show you also that. So if I just Control C this, do sudo docker ps, you'll see that now there are two different Dockers. One is the DDNS updater and one is the traffic. So yeah. And that's how the Docker Compose works. And I think I have kind of explained everything. And there are a bunch of other things, configurations in the traffic.yaml file. This part is specific to Cloudflare. You kind of have to search to see what other configuration you need if you are using a different DNS provider. But the rest should be kind of the same. If you happen to change the network name, make sure to change it everywhere. The rest are kind of good practices. Some might argue, but I think they're good practices. Yeah, and that's about it. So I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned something from here. And I really wish you could spin it up, bring it up. Tell me about challenges. Tell me about if you could improve anything. I would pretty much like to know. I'm learning from my comments actually recently. People have been pointing out, why have you done this here? Why have you done that there? I was like, really, like why I did that. So I'm also learning a lot from you. And we're here to create a community, basically learning things from each other. And I would love to know your ideas. And if you can see any part that there is wrong, or it's not good, or it's not the best way, please let me know. I would love to know that. And yeah, that's it from me. I'm not going to keep you much longer. And wish you a great day. Wish you a great kitchen with a nice server in it. Have a good one. See you.